Welcome back. So now we have a list of statuses here on each person, and we're going to add some more, but I just want to show you how you can actually, in the add now, I have added a new drop-down list called statuses. And here you can select the status for the person you create, okay, and you can save him. Let me just go back. So the goal is this lesson to try and show you how we can actually, whenever we create a new person, decide what status he should have. So that's just the create, not the edit yet. We'll do that later. But let's try and have a look at that. So if we go into our code here, how do we actually add drop-down control? And this is, again, later I'll show you HTML helpers to make this easier, but this is how you do it if you have to do it in pure HTML. So what I'm doing here is, this is hard-coded. We're going to make it dynamic in a second. But notice this, we've added a form group just like we did with the input fields up here. We add a label saying status. That's kind of the label you see. Let me just go into that again. That's the label you see right here. And then we added the drop-down, and this is a drop-down so that we can pass information back inside a form. It's called a select tag. And in here we put in some information to make it look shiny. The form control is what makes it look like a real bootstrap control, looking shiny, right? And then it gets a status of ID that matches the 4 here, and then I have a name of status that matches the information I send back when I do a selection and do submit. I'll show you that in a second. And then I add some values here to each option, so whatever option is selected, that information will actually be sent back as the type of status. Let me show you what I mean there. So I'll just add a new guy here. Let's call him Johnny. There we go. Now Johnny is going to have a status of don't ask. And then when I save the user, let me just try here and show you what I actually sent back. I do save user here, and of course a request is sent to create. It gets a null reference. It doesn't matter right now. I knew that would happen. I just want to show you the actual create here, because what I'm sending back now is actually a name of Johnny, right? And then a status of don't ask. So I'm sending both informations back. Now we're going to change that. Instead of saying don't ask, we want the ID of the status. But we'll do that in a second. So let the application crash and let's just shut this down, because we have to do a few more things to actually make it work. First of all, I might just want to do a null reference check here to make sure that we don't crash. So we could do that. Let's just add here to show you. Add if, then we'll add the if statement here. TD person, if this status is not null, then we'll add his name. Add his name, else we'll just add TD that has unknown. So pretty basic stuff here. I just wanted to make sure that we at least don't get that exception again. So now it's unknown, we don't know the status. There we go. Okay, so that's fine. Now let's figure out, I could see that I'm actually passing some information back like I expect, but it's not the right information. So let's go into the create view here. First of all, I want to tell the view that to make the view from now on you have to pass in a list of statuses. So we'll make it a strong type view. So I'll make an add model here, and I'll say I want this model to be strongly typed to a list of person status, right? So I want it to be strongly typed to that type that we have right here. So now we have a list of person status, and that means that instead of actually hard coding the drop down here, we can now go in and add an option using the for each loop. So I'll do an add sign here, and I'll do it for each, and then I'll add the status here. So I'll say var status in statuses. In the model, right? So here we're getting in the model. Sorry about the new liner there. There we go. So now we can go in and say for each status I have in my model, meaning for each status that I'm sending in from the outside using the strongly typed view, I want to add an option. Now the option is going to be a bit different, because we're going to use the add sign now to say the value is going to be the ID of the actual status, not the name. But what we're going to show to the user, that's going to be the name. So it's going to be add status .name here. There we go. So now we've actually dynamically went in and said create the drop down depending on what the list looks like. But we need one more thing, and that's in the person controller, when we do the create view, we need to now, because it's a strongly typed view, we need to pass in all the available statuses. Remember that when you make a strongly typed view, you have to pass in the information right here. So I'll pass in the list of statuses when I do the create view, the get create view, right? So let's run this and see how it actually turned out. So in the persons view again, I press the add button to go to the create view, and now you'll notice that the statuses are actually the real statuses now. Awesome. So now we've made the view actually know how to create the right drop down with the right statuses. So that's kind of awesome. Now let's write Johnny again. Of course, it won't save the right thing yet, because when I do the save now, I haven't passed the status into the actual person yet. So let's just do a save. Johnny's here, but the status is unknown. So we also got rid of that nasty null pointer exception. Next, we'll actually use the data to actually store the real information inside the new persons we create. See you in the next lesson.